You ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Show me the money.
Oh, you didn't know?
Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
Put my shoes on, you wouldn't last a mile. Summertime, wintertime, I'm on the grind. Yeah, I got the ring, I'm the champ, I'm the genie of the lamp.
This is the gift I was given, so I just live by my hustle.
If I can't do it, homie, it can't be done. Now I'm a
VIP me put in my pocket, it don't make sense, but don't make a profit. So I hustle, ladies and homies, make money, money.
It's hard out here for a pill. When he tryna get this money for the real.
I want to find a thing to save my life, so I hustle.
It ain't over for me. No, it ain't over for me.
Here comes the money.
Here we go, money talk.
Here comes the money.
Show me the money!
Okay, let's go smoke that joint.
What up? What up? It is Alex, Fantasy Football Hustler, back at you. Another episode of Elevated Sports Talk. Today, we're going to be talking some trading strategies because we are pretty much right in the middle of this fantasy football regular season. And I know a lot of you guys suck at trading. I'm talking to people who are watching this on a replay. So make sure you guys sit back and chill. We're going to talk about strategies for trading. I'm also going to talk about players that you should be targeting. And I'm going to be talking about guys that you should be getting the hell off your team if you can because of atrocious schedules moving forward. So everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you're brand new here. And we're going to shout out the chat. We're going to shout out our man Stranger first. What up? What up? But Rush Lord got in here with the super chat. You demand Rush Lord. Rush. King DLBC, what up, bro? Seawolves in the house, what up? Johnny said Kyren motherfucking Williams, y'all. Man, the rushing lanes for Kyren have never been as big as they were last night. D-Wave, what up? D-Wave said, I'm tempted to start Tua over Dak and Purdy, still debating on starting. Who the hell is starting? Darnell? Darnold? Who are we talking about? Thomas, Brian Robinson. Who are we talking about over there for the who's the Darnell? I'm very curious. And Tua over Dak. I mean, anybody should be considering that. Tua over anybody, people should be considering. And Bakes, what up, my brother? He said, don't forget to bring a towel.
You want to get high? Are we going to get high? Just let me get high.
And Sir Drop, what up? Sir Drop TV in the house. Rush Lord said, I'd like to trade my 1-7 record to someone. Man, this is Mooney. Okay. Yeah, Mooney. He's not good enough to be on a first name basis with me right now. I like him, but we have not, we have not gotten to the first name basis status in our relationship. Like the flex guys, I don't call them by first name. You got to work your way up to where you're like a starter on my team all the time, and then and then you might be known by your first name around here. Anybody else feel that way? And Brian Robinson, Brian Thomas, feel like okay, 2 flex spots. Woody Thomas and Robinson. Let's see. Atlanta's got the Bucks. Should be great, actually, because they got a bunch of DBs that they're missing. Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, they got the Packers. That might not be so good. And then B-Rob. He's got the Bears. Feel like I'm probably going Mooney and Brian Thomas Jr. Between the Bryans, I'm kind of conflicted. Feel like Mooney, with all the injuries that they got over there, the Bucs secondary, I'm cool with Mooney. But yeah, it's the Bryans, man. Those guys. I I just keep coming back and asking D-Wave because I swear I'll probably go back and forth on this a couple times. Brian Robinson, I feel like, has a better matchup than Brian Thomas, but, you know, BTJ's been killing it. Theo in the house. What up, bro? Right? Johnny said trade it to yourself for a 6-0 finish. Let's go. Let's go. And Rush Lord in that league specifically. So here's one strategy. And this kind of like the strategy is based on whether you have a good team or a bad team record wise. It's kind of like one strategy that I feel you got to go with. If you are a winning team right now, and a losing team is literally the exact opposite, like strategy. And when you're trading with someone, here's like the biggest thing that people mess up when it comes to trades. They get in their mind, I want to trade this person for this person. And there's like literally no other context besides that. What up, Pam? And everybody else who left a question, and just hang on one sec. Let me get through my first little strategy here. And this has to do this for redraft as well, because I know most people are going to be watching this. They're going to be thinking redraft. So if you are a winning team, you are 7-0, 6-1, 5-2, anything like that, to where you're the upper echelon of your league, you should be trying to make a trade because you should be trying to get your team better. And the way that you're going to do that, it's not by going out. Like I see all these teams with winning records are like, hey, should I trade these two players for these two players? Like, no, like that's horrible. And then another thing that I see is like, okay, I'm 6-1. This team that's 5-2 wants to get me to trade with them, and they want me to give them these two players. And like one of these, this is me just speculating, and one of these players is my best player, and they're going to trade me like 3 of their really good players for my one best player. No, you don't do that. Like this is where people shoot themselves in the foot with trades. I see it happen all the time in all the leagues that I commission. These people, the teams that are the top teams, they'll trade if they think that they're getting an even end of a fair trade. You're making a fair trade, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Okay. It's not about trades. It's not about making fair trades. It's about making calculated trades. So if you are a winning team, you need to be trading with someone who's a bottom half team. You need to be trading with someone who might have a couple good players, but they need an insane amount of depth to actually compete and to get back into it. So your goal is to trade them 2, 3, potentially even 4 of your super, super deep depth pieces. That as long as those pieces will be starters for them, that's kind of all that really matters. As long as those pieces could be starters for them, a lot of times these teams are going to give up 1 or 2 of their best players because they have no choice. Like we're talking about, all this came up because of Rush Lord being 1-6, right? And it's tough being 1-6, but you have wiggle room of like, you might not be able to lose 1 more game, 2 more games. If you got a top player, like, I don't know. I mean, Jefferson just played. So let's use someone else as an example. Let's say you got a Tyreek. Okay. Because I've seen people been giving up Tyreek for like damn near nothing this week. It's super weird because even though Tua is coming back, if I had a Tyreek and I was like towards the bottom of the league, I would be trading Tyreek for like 3 or 4 players. It would have to be like legit 3 or 4 starters, not someone like Kareem Hunt who's going to play for a week and then he's going to be gone, or a couple weeks and then he's going to be gone. Not anybody like that. You gotta like Mooney could be in the mix on someone that you'd accept, someone who's been doing like really solid, and like Mooney plus 2 other players or whatever, that they can like really increase just the overall depth of your team. It's kind of really the only way to do it if you are a losing team or a winning team. If you're a winning team, I don't want to trade 2 for 2. If you're a losing team, I don't want to trade 2 for 2. Like that does not help you. You win on one player, you lose on one player. So doing those fair 2 for 2 trades is literally the worst type of trade that you could do. And I want to make sure that everybody watching live and everyone watching on replay understands that those 2 for 2 trades are literally the worst trades that you can make. Okay. Put a thumbs up in the chat or the comments and actually put a thumbs down in the comments or chat and put 2 for 2. We're not doing those trades anymore. Like we're not. Let's get out of those. Dynasty's different. But I'm talking redraft. We are getting out of these whack-ass 2-for-2 trades where you guys are trying to make even trades and you win on a wide receiver, you lose on a running back, or you win on a running back and you lose on a wide receiver. Like, those are the worst trades that you can make. And I'm not going to let anybody who messes with me do it anymore. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do those whack-ass 2-for-2 trades anymore. Don't do it. So that's going to be the first strategy, and we're going to get back to the chat, and we're going to be talking about more strategies along the way. So for everyone watching on replay, just hang out, and everyone watching live, appreciate you guys. And Theo said, I just traded Dunze and the Steelers defense for Mooney today. I like it. I mean, it's a really good matchup coming for a Dunze. So, you know, I mean, I don't know if all three guys are going to be able to eat, all three of their wide receivers. But, yeah, I'm not mad at it. I feel like Mooney for redraft is going to have more value than a Dunze, more weeks than not. So I'm with you. Tucker One said, what up? Just left Puka on my bench, waiting to see his performance. So I guess I'll be okay putting him in my lineup next week. Yeah, and I think that anybody who's mad about not playing him, you shouldn't be. If you have someone who was like better than Puka on paper, he didn't even practice. Like, that's what's crazy about all of this. He didn't even really practice. I don't even think he was in pads for any practices this week. So if you played him, hat tip to you. But if you played him, I'm sure it's because you like had nobody, like no options to play. So still a good reason, you know, to play him if you have no options, and props to you guys, whoever actually played him. But it wasn't a good reason to just outright play him. It really wasn't. It worked out, but it wasn't the right move necessarily, depending on who you had. Flappo, what up? Pitts or Kraft this week? I think I'm going to go Pitts versus the Bucks. They've been giving up a lot of booty to the tight end positions. Chris Bay, you think Burton takes over for Higgins next year? No, I bet you they re-sign Higgins somehow. Big Bando, what up? Seawolves, 2 QB league. I love Tua, Mahomes. Can Mahomes turn things around? Do I pick up Stroud? I mean, I feel like Mahomes and Stroud are doing very, very similar. And I could be wrong about that, but, you know, Stroud really slowed down after the first couple weeks. I'm fine with either. I mean, you're literally talking about, you know, your third QB, for, you know, / fourth QB maybe. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about getting rid of Mahomes to get Stroud, but wouldn't be dropping or anything if that's what you're asking. Big Bando, Mooney, Hopkins, Chubb, Ingram, pick 2. Good go. I'm putting Mooney in there. And putting Mooney in there. And I think Ingram is where I'm going to go. I really don't like running multiple. I really don't like running multiple tight ends, but Ingram gets a lot of volume, and the Packers, they give up booty to the tight ends. Frederick, what up, homie? So my tight end for this week is Otten, solid. Got J.K. Dobbins, have Vidal as the handcuff. Yeah. I said, should I drop Vidal for Taysom Hill as a bench stash instead of holding on to Vidal? I think so. Especially like with the issues that they're having at quarterback this week specifically. Like, I like Otten this week. Like, he's one of my favorite guys this week. But Taysom might be a decent flex for you this week. If they're still having the quarterback woes, like when it gets down to the goal line, I mean, if they can actually get into goal line scoring position, I feel like he's going to have a big role, especially with what we heard about Kamara, you know, being a little bit banged up. D-Wave said 3 and 4. I trade Kyrie for the bar. This is season. I got Dobbins, B-Rob as my backup running backs. I don't like that idea. Not with you not having like a good amount of RB depth. Papa J, what up, homie? Lai said just traded Amari Cooper and Ramondre for Gibbs. What you think? I like it. Trading up on Amari before we necessarily. I mean, you know, we don't know if Amari, like, everyone thinks that like Amari's just going to be a top 12 locked and loaded guy, and like he's just going to be like what Diggs was and all that. There's no guarantee that happens. So I'm okay with this. I mean, Gibbs popped off for sure, and Ramondre, I feel like a lot of people are just quitting on the Patriots in general. So I'm okay with moving Ramondre for sure. Rush Short said I'm actually 1-7. Played against Kyren last night. The game, it ain't over. It ain't over. John said need to make room for a kicker, drop Hopkins or Purcell. Man, I hate kickers, and I hate that you have to drop a wide receiver to pick one up. I guess Ricky P. Yes. No 2-for-2s. We're done with the 2-for-2 trades, man. We are done with those. I know there's going to be people coming in about asking about them, but anybody who's a normal follower of this show, don't even ask me about a 2-for-2 trade. We got to start. And I'm sure you're asking most of the time because people are sending you those trades. Just hit decline right away on those trades. And then we regroup and we figure out if we do actually want to go trade with that person or not. Because anybody who sends a 2-for-2 trade, they are literally just trying to get someone that they like. Maybe even 2 players that they like. And giving up players that they don't like no matter what, like that's just always how it is. What up, John? JSN, Pickens, or Dubs? I'm gonna go Dubs this week, and then Kyler or Tua, and it ain't even close. Mark, Chase Brown, or Wicks at the flex? I'm rocking the Chase. John said Cousins or AR. I will never recommend starting Anthony Richardson. Cousins. John, Chase, Bucky, Dowdle, Madison. Saying Chase for now. You got to come back about this one because we got to see what is going down with Bucky. Big Banda, would you trade Bigsby and Mooney for Monty? Probably. Depends on how bad you need those. Depends on how bad you need that top end running back. Steven said trade Hopkins and Tracy for Connor. I think so. I really want to get Connor. He's one of those guys I said has a sweetheart of a schedule, like down the road. And yeah. Stranger said the Bengals can tag Higgins again, 26 mil, which is well worth. Yeah. Give him that fucking money, man. He deserves it. He's been there since Burrow has been there. He's played more games than Burrow has over there. Like, come on. Like, keep him and fucking Chase. Keep that band together. Seawolves, Otten or Kelsey this week. I'm going to say Kelsey. I know that the Chiefs might not have to do too much to win. But versus the Raiders, man, he just destroys the Raiders. Like, what if we get one of those 4 catches, 35 yards, 4 touchdown games? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but he did that versus the Raiders. And he destroys the Raiders. And we got to play Kelsey in this matchup. Even if we consider Kelsey a matchup based tight end, this is the matchup. This is the matchup. And Strange said, yeah, giant tagger play trade. Yeah. Thoffer is right for sure. Seawolf said drop Reed, pick up Metcalf on waivers. What? Well, I know DK's hurt. I think he's going to be out a couple weeks. Is there anybody else that you could drop? And Big Bando, what do you think about Bigsby and Kelsey for Monty and Flowers? Nope. Didn't I just say we're not doing these 2-for-2 trades? We're not doing these 2-for-2 trades. I'm just going to say no about it now. And why would we want to give up Kelsey when Kelsey is like last week was a horrible matchup. Like, we got to remember that. Like, 49ers are like literally one of the worst matchups that you can have for a tight end. So even if we're considering Kelsey a matchup based tight end, that was a horrible matchup to start him in. This week, amazing matchup. And so, yeah, we're not getting rid of Kelsey, like not now. And we're not doing these 2-for-2 trades anymore. We're not doing it. They're going to hurt you more than they help you. Guarantee. They're going to hurt you more than they help you. And JJ on Twitch, what up, bro? Sit 2 out of Wilson, James Conner, Kareem Hunt, Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed, Devonta Smith, I'm assuming, even though it says Revonta Smith. I like it because he's revamped Devonta. You're not sitting Connor versus the Dolphins. It almost doesn't matter who you have on your squad, unless you got like Derrick Henry and Saquon and like I don't know, someone just as good as those guys, you're not sitting Connor this week. Dolphins have been one of the best matchups for a running back. So if you have Connor, fire him up. Don't even think twice about it this week. And then the second guy, though, Garrett Wilson, Kareem Hunt, Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed, and Devonta Smith. You got a lot of good matchups here. That's kind of like, you know, that's the champagne problems that you're dealing with here. I like Kareem Hunt versus the Raiders. Garrett Wilson versus the Patriots. I mean, he did great on the Patriots last time, and the Patriots are like quitting right now. And I feel like that's where I want to go. I mean, Josh Jacobs, he's got the smash matchup versus the Jaguars. Reed's got the smash matchup versus the Jags. It's going to be very hard to predict, I think, on the Packers side of things. But you know what? I think I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Josh Jacobs here. Theo said Richardson got 27 points when he faced Houston earlier, taking a shot, hoping it pays off. I bet there's a lot of people who don't even know why Richardson did so good in that first week. I just want anybody to, if anybody has, because I know the reason why he did good. I know the exact reason why he did good and how teams started changing against him literally after that first game. So I want everybody to put it in the chat if you know this answer. Why did Richardson do so good in week 1? And it's not because he caught anybody by surprise. That's not the reason. It has to do with something very specific, very, very specific on why he actually did good in week 1. If anybody knows that answer, Johnny got it right off the bat. Houston played zone week 1. Right there. That's it. That's the exact reason why Richardson did so good week 1. And I've shouted it out a bunch of times. Johnny paying attention. Houston played like damn near all zone in week 1, and he kept beating the zone. Those 2 big touchdowns or whatever it was, 3 big touchdowns, whatever it was, those were all against the zone. Teams have not run zone like that against him ever since then. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that teams never run zone against him, but I'm just saying Houston ran like all zone in that first week. And then they saw that he was defeating that zone. Everyone starts running man coverage on him pretty much all goddamn game now. And Richardson is a shell of himself since then. So that's the reason why, for anybody who is going to be, you know, potentially starting Richardson, they are not going to play zone. I mean, they might a couple plays, but they are going to run more man-to-man than zone. You can guarantee that. We are just normal folk around here. These motherfuckers know how to stop Anthony Richardson because multiple people have already done it. And Jai said, I may be broke, but I can pay attention. I like it. But so there you go, Theo. That's the reason, because I know a lot of people are going to be thinking that same way. So it's not just you. I'm not trying to talk shit. I literally wanted to see who's been paying attention to shit that I've been saying. And yes, them running zone is the reason why Anthony Richardson did good in week 1, and the reason why Anthony Richardson is going to fail this week. He said, I feel you should have dropped anal zones, dropped like 5 times in the last minute. Oh, man. Get in the zone. Get in the zone. And Theo said, I'm a gambler. Still want to take a shot. Gino, bad matchup against the Bills. No DK. Yeah. I didn't even know your other person. Pam, what up? They say Bucky will be back. Will play barring a setback. Well, we got a couple days to see if there's going to be any setbacks along the way. Still nervous about Bucky. But I got him in a couple places, and I want him to play. Sometimes need him to play. Lipsy, Dak, or Kirk. I'm going to say Kirk because Tampa's missing like so many of their DBs. I like Dak this week. I like the Sunday Night Football matchup. 49ers. Been a little Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, you know, or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, whatever the fuck it is. And I don't know, they're at home. Yeah, I'm going Kirk. I got to. Big Bando, rest of season. Who you want, Mooney or Hopkins? Give me the context. Give me the context on why rest of season, because I hate rest of season questions, because I want to know what you're doing and why, and then I'll be able to tell you who I want rest of season. Seawolves need a fourth wide receiver despite only playing 2. Pick up Cooper or Metcalf. Can you pick up both somehow? I'd pick up Cooper if you can. I mean, DK is not going to play this week, but I'd be trying to pick up DK as a stash. What'd Crispy say? 0-7. Nah, Crispy, don't do that. That is trading Puka for the shittiest, what's it called? Shittiest package I've ever seen. I mean, it is nice getting Rice, but Roshan, I mean, he could literally be nothing next year. Michael Wilson could literally be nothing next year. And Jay Burton, he could literally be nothing as easily as he could be something. So, no, I'm going to say don't do that. That's a horrible trade for you. Horrible trade for you. And here's the thing you got to remember, Crispy. All right, we're jumping to some dynasty strategies. You guys ready? Throw dynasty in the chat if you guys are ready for some dynasty trade strategies here. Throw it in the chat. I want to see who's paying attention and who wants some dynasty strategy for a trade right now. And Savage Jeremy, someone offering me Dobbins for Marvin Harrison Jr., but I don't know. There's a second half of the season pop coming off. If it's let me know if it's redraft or dynasty. I'm assuming it's redraft. Everybody, if you have a dynasty trade, always make sure that you let me know dynasty. Okay. All right. And everybody who left a comment in, don't worry. We're going to be getting to all the comments, but we're definitely going to be talking about a lot of trade strategies along the way here. Okay. Now for dynasty, we're going to stick with a similar school of thought from the redraft. Okay, where we were talking about like top teams in redraft, you know, the 5 and 2s, the 6 and 1s, the 7 and 0s. Now we're gonna compare that to like the dynasties. Okay. Now, Crispy here, he's an 0-7 team, he said, in this league, in this dynasty. And someone offered him Rashee Rice, Roshan Johnson, Burton, and Michael Wilson. Now, on paper, someone may see this like, oh shit, I want to lose anyways. Or, you know, I want to keep losing anyways. I want to get Rice for next year. Rice for Puka is a horrible trade because, like, why, if like Puka's value since last night has gone like anybody could have traded him for like any kind of like somewhat whatever package over the last couple weeks. But like now we're talking Puka's back to like top 3 dynasty wide receiver. Like everybody, there's so many people who like they make these crazy rankings. And like I've seen Brian Thomas Jr. on Keep Trade Cut ranked as number 8. And you know who wasn't in the top 12 anywhere? Puka. Of course he wasn't, because he's hurt at this exact moment. They didn't even have Nico inside the top 8 because he's hurt at this exact moment. Now Nico comes back in. Now everybody has to go adjust their rankings again because now Puka has jumped up to like top 5. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He is going to be looked at as a top 5 wide receiver now for Dynasty, if not higher than that. So if I am a winning team, I'm trying to acquire a guy like Puka if the team is losing. Okay, that's number 1. But number 2, Bernie Mac, the guy who's trying to trade you here, he's doing it the right way. He's giving you one good piece that he can't even use this year. He's giving you one good piece and then 3, I don't want to disrespect anyone, but 3 trash pieces. Okay. So I know Crispy is probably going to just hit decline on this anyways, but this is just really good food for thought for anybody with Dynasty, because you do not want to make a trade like this for Puka. Like, you do not want to trade away a guy like Puka, who literally is going to be back to top 5 status at the position just after that one game. That is it. He is back to that exact same value. Anybody tries to tell you different, they're lying. They are lying to you. If I'm a winning team, I'm trying to do things like Bernie Mac was doing, trading one good piece and then a couple shitty pieces that I don't want anyways, that make no difference to my team, and try to make it look like a shiny trade to the other person. But luckily, you guys are here, and we're the ones who do that. We don't fall for that type of shit, okay? So if I'm a winning team, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, or I'm going to trade away picks. I don't want to trade away starters. I don't want to trade away depth that's going to help me actually compete for a championship this year. I'll trade a bunch of picks instead of that. Okay, just remember that if we're the winning team, we either want to trade a bunch of picks or a bunch of pieces that don't necessarily help us this year. Now, flip side, if you are in Crispy's position, where and Crispy's in so many leagues, it's like one league that he's doing bad. If you are in Crispy's position in this league specifically, where your team is not doing good, the only thing you want to get is picks. That is it. First and second round picks. If you can get a guy like Rice plus a first and a second or something, like that for Puka, then we're getting more along the lines of like what we should be doing. But I'd still want Puka right now. I'd want 2 firsts plus Rice. And you know what? The person doesn't want to pay it. Fine. You want to buy a championship? That's how you buy a championship. It's not by hoping that you're going to get lucky and I'm just going to give you a deal. No, it doesn't work like that. So if we are on the losing side where we are making a dynasty trade, we want as many fucking picks as we can get for anybody. Last year, maybe it was 2 years ago at this point. It might have been 2 years ago at this point. I sold Ramondre Stevenson for like 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and multiple picks, just insane amount of picks for Ramondre Stevenson. And it was to someone who you guys know who used to be on this show, who just loved Ramondre Stevenson. And I took advantage of his extra love for Ramondre Stevenson, but he won a championship because of it. And so at the end of the day, I'm sure he'd not care one iota about those 7 or 10 picks that he gave me for Ramondre Stevenson. And I wasn't going to win anyways. So it was like great for me. Shit, that was 2 years ago, and I still got picks that I'm going to be able to use in this next year, like from it. So just remember that when it comes to Dynasty, if we're the winning team, we're trying to trade picks. And shout out to Marty, shout out to Corey. If we're the winning team, we're trying to trade picks for those top end assets, unless we can make a trade where we trade, a guy like Rice plus a whole bunch of random crap that nobody really wants anyways, but to try to make the trade look shiny. And if we're the losing team, we're trying to stack up on as many picks as possible. That is it. We're trying to stack up on as many picks as possible. First and seconds, fuck everything else. We want to get other picks besides those in addition to those first and seconds, but that's all we care about is the first and second round picks. And you know why? Because next year before the draft, like when all this combine shit is going on, the value of those first and second round picks just straight rise, and people will trade veteran fucking wide receivers, veteran running backs for first, second round picks because they want to get the new shiny toys, and people will literally make their teams worse in a year to get a rookie that they think is like through the roof, super hyped and all that. And you can be there to go use these picks to get some super insane talent. All right. Let me know if that makes sense. That was our next strategy. There's our dynasty strategy. At least for the teams that have a really good record or a really bad record. And a lot of times that's the case right now. Let me see. I can't even remember where I left off at. Arrow Chill, what up? Got 2 questions. I got CMC, Jones, Mixon, Connor, looking to move Connor. That's not a good move. Like Connor's someone we're actually trying to trade for right now. He said got offers Waddle and Pickens, blah. I wouldn't do that. And then also start Tua or Purdy this week. I'm leaning Tua. I'm wanting to move Connor by next week. Why? I mean, I'm sure you could move him in a second, but why? Why are you trying to move him? And Rush or DK and Evans are my starting wide receivers. See, Rush, it's like it's time to make a trade where you trade one of those guys or both of those guys. And like, if you could turn DK and Mike Evans into 4 players that are potentially starters for you, that's winning right now. because you need to win like this week. Like you cannot lose. And Bake said trade Kraft and Mason for Kelsey and redraft. I probably would. I mean, if 49ers haven't been too truthful about the whole CMC situation, so I don't know if he's coming back in the beginning of November, but if he is, that means Mason's on borrowed time. John said McBride or Otten. It's really tough, but I'm going to say Otten here. It's just way better matchups. And Savage Jeremy is Singletary, a safe drop, never activated Puka yesterday. Yeah, I'm not excited about Singletary. And have Puka in 2 leagues, Singletary. Yeah, I dropped Singletary. JJ, you hear the audio for Amari Cooper in his first ever Buffalo TD. He asked Coleman, what does he do? Coleman pointed and said, run that way. How in the world does the defense not hear Cooper's route when Coleman shouted it out right before the ball was snapped? It's fucking hilarious. There we go. Toker one's on it. Seawolves keep 2. Murray, Tua, Wilson, Geno Smith from waivers. Or Geno Smith from waivers. I mean, it's good. I mean, Tua's for sure, the keep there. And it's probably going to be, it's tough, man. It's probably going to be Murray. I don't know. It's tough, man. Zoo Crew, Brian Robinson Jr., Drake London, Stevenson, Reed, Brian Thomason Jr., pick a wide receiver and a flex. Probably going Drake London and Brian. I'm going to Drake London and Reed. Hey, what up, Matt? We are live, yes, sir. Triple X Lex, would you trade either Mondre or Najee for JT, or is that too much? What do you mean, just 1 for 1, or is it both? Both Mondre and I kind of don't want JT with Richardson. Lipsy said so. We're dropping the Vikings defense. Who the Vikings got next week? Vikings got the Colts next week. I don't think so, Tim. I think you're holding. I said Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde is a different kind of movie, right? I swear that they made one movie like that where it was, and I'm not talking an adult movie, but I swear that there was a movie like that, like a remake, where it was like the doctor being a man and a woman. Someone fact check. I know that, and like I said, not fucking an adult movie. I'm not talking about that. And Quincy, what up? First place league. Like UB2, man. He wants to trade me Geno for Algier. Should I do this trade? Yeah. I mean, Geno's got like a bad matchup this week and all that, but I think I'd take advantage of them wanting to get Algier for Geno. I mean, if it wasn't a super flex, I'd be saying hell no, but hey, Marco, what up? Good night, future boy. What's going down? Bigsby gonna put one in a package with Bigsby and try to level up. Yeah, but if you're doing a 2-for-2 trade, just remember it's not a level up. It's a level sideways. And Chris, would you start any Russell Wilson or Caleb over Kyler? I'd literally start either one of them over Kyler this week. Kyler's got one of the worst matchups that you can have. I'll say Caleb. Bake said, Huss with the rest of the season questions in Arnold's voice. I have a few questions for you. And I want them answered immediately. Who is your daddy and what does he do? And remember, if you guys are, we are doing a lot of, we're doing a lot of trade questions today. So if you got trade questions, put them in the chat. But remember, give me context. What's your record? Whoever you're trading away, if you're trading away a wide receiver, like who are your wide receivers? Like things like that. Don't give me your full team. Just give me the positions that are valuable to get context behind why you would make a trade or why you're asking about a trade. Eric, what up? Trade yesterday went down where a guy in my league traded away Tyreek for Mooney when a week prior I was trying to trade him Terry Flowers and Bigsby or Mason for Reek. Thoughts? Yeah, that sounds like that sounds like some bullshit to me. I'd be calling bullshit on that no matter what. I wouldn't allow a trade like that to go down. If I was like any other week, you may have had a case, like on why someone would trade Tyreek for Mooney, but not now. Not this week. Like not this week. Like that's I guarantee the guy with Reek is low on the totem pole, right? And then the guy with Mooney is probably high on the totem pole. And I know that might be like the wrong analogy, but I'm sure the guy with Mooney has a better record than the guy with Tyreek. And I bet the guy with Mooney is buying Tyreek with real money. And Snag 2K, start JT or Hunt. I'm gonna start Hunt. Big Bando said in Superflex, my 2 QBs, Jaden Daniels, Jameis, would you trade Bigsby for Kirk Cousins? Fuck yeah, man. In a fucking New York minute, bro. Marco said, you need a timeout, Alex. You said a bad word. And shout out again to Marty and Corey. What up? Hudson said, hey there, TNA, Hall of Fame bound, Glory and AEW collision. Okay, nice. And Seawolves, how do we track next year's picks when making trades? You want to be on Sleeper. If you're not using Sleeper, someone's going to be manually tracking all that shit. So you got to be on Sleeper where they do all that for you. And Papa J, Deontay Johnson, Thielen ruled out Sunday. I mean, Deontay Johnson versus Pat Surtain. Yeah. Good luck. I'd say no. Johnny said people, especially newer dynasty players, are absolute rookie crazy these days. You can get gold for picks. Yes, that's why, I don't want to trade rookie unless I'm winning, like using these picks to try to like buy a championship, get a player that could help me win a championship. I don't want to trade away those first and seconds. Like the longer that you hold them, if you can trade those picks between the combine and the NFL draft, that is your window of when you really, really, really want to trade those first round picks away. You will be able to get the most insane veterans. You just have to find the right person and not sell to the first person who wants your first rounder, because everybody wants your first rounder. Everybody. Doesn't matter if they need it or not. They want it. Perry in the house. What up? Boppo, Kyler or Goff with Jameson Williams out now. Goff. Perry said an 8-man league. Laporta just got dropped recently. I have Njoku at tight end. Deontay Johnson, Pickens, Waddle on my bench. You drop any of them for Laporta? I mean, Laporta has been kind of whack. I mean, it's an 8-man league, so I'm sure there's other tight ends that you could just go grab at any time. I'm not in a rush to do it, especially with this week specifically. It's a really horrible matchup for him this week. But if you want to get him for next week's matchup in advance, they play Green Bay next week, and that's a matchup that you would want to deploy Laporta, especially with no JMO. And even with no JMO, there might be more Laporta, like even in this week, but it's a horrible matchup versus the Titans. Trade Tank Bigsby and Lazard for Dobbins. Doesn't super excite me, but I might. And Drake, what up, bro? He said, have a good weekend. Get stoned. Let's smoke it up. Let's see. Rush Star, my backups are Reed, Flowers, Olave. I'll try to move DK and Evans today. Thanks, guys. Yes, and don't trade them for bullshit. Remember that, Rush Lord. Don't trade them for bullshit. You should be able to get 2 players for each one of those. Don't package them up. It's the worst thing you can do when you need to get a lot of depth. Do not package your players together. You trade one at a time. It may take a little bit longer and it may be a little bit harder, but you got to do it. And Corey said, my stupid 1 IDP spot league, Wagner or Pratt. You know what? This is very hard for me to say Pratt, but I'm going Pratt. Marco said that movie doesn't exist, just like Shazam. And see, Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde was, in fact, a low-budget 90s movie starring some no-names. See? I told you. And when was I a fucking kid? In the 90s. That's why I remember that dumbass movie. I haven't even seen it, but I remember that commercial. And Triple X Lex. I'm glad you guys went and fact check it, because I wasn't talking about some Debbie Meets Dallas or some shit like that. Was not. Triple X Lex, squad hurts. Who should I send away to get a better running back? Hopkins. Sell on the hype. Savage Jeremy got offered Dobbins and Marvin Harrison Jr. Thanks for re-putting that in there. Loaded at wide receiver. Amon-Ra, Cup, Puka, Marvin Harrison Jr. Olave, Rome. So I mean, I probably would. I feel like that's selling a little cheap on Marvin Harrison Jr. And I would try to see if there's like anybody else in the league who wants him that you can get a better running back. Instead, I'd use people's offers against them if I could. Yeah, I would, like, if you have not put Marvin Harrison Jr. on the block, I'd put him on the block. See if anything comes back before you just make that trade. But yeah, Dobbins for Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, I'm not super huge fan, but yeah, I'd be okay with it. Savage Jeremy running backs or Rashad White, Najee, A-Chain, Bijan. Yeah. Also, not a reason to like need to panic for like Dobbins, because Dobbins does have a pretty whack schedule. I think I shouted it out before. Is there a better option I can get with any of those receivers? Bro, I'm sure you could get way better options than Dobbins with those receivers that you got. Shit, trade a D-Hop and Rome, or Rome and Deontay. Trade two of those guys and try to get a way better option. You're so stacked that you should do a 2-for-1 trade. Maybe even a 3-for-1 if you can get someone like Barkley or Henry or something like that. Yeah, it all depends on if how those teams are like, shaping out. But I'd be trying to shoot as high as I could. Seawolves, Komet or Henry? Komet. Henry, bad matchup this week. What up, Zeb? Said Vam's rankings was fun last night. Said fuck the rest, face mask. Donald, the end of the game, man. Yeah. And dude, I totally forgot, man. Thanks for the invite, Zeb. There's no way that I would have been able to make it yesterday. Me and Noble, we went to see Back to the Future, the musical. Now something that we had planned for like, I don't know, almost a month. So yeah, I totally would have been an asshole if I actually would have went to LA instead of doing instead of seeing Back to the Future, the musical with Noble. And Noble is super stoked about it. Like as soon as he came home, turns on Back to the Future. Yeah, so Noble's have he's all about it, man. Yeti Murray's a blind bum. No one should be starting him. And Zeb, Shepard or Tolbert? Probably Shep. Perry said, if I could trade Jordan Mason for Higgins, would you do that? Probably. I mean, it all depends on who you have at running back. It is a great matchup this week. So I'd want to play him actually, I guess 49ers got the bye week next week, huh? It's like you gotta kind of trade him like for him now, or trade him away now. I probably would. It depends on how bad you're hurting at running back. Like if Mason like really hurts you at all, like losing him, but I feel like I would. Bake said I countered with Shakir and Kelsey for Mason and Kraft. Let's see if he wants to bite. Okay. Not really excited about Shakir. Zeb said Cypress Hill was the halftime show. What? Fucking sick. And Tay got offered Kareem Hunt and Worthy for my Hurts and Tank Bigsby. I have Josh Allen as my QB. It's funny. I even said it right, but it said I got offended. Kareem Hunt and Worthy for my Hurts and Bigsby. Yeah, not a good trade. Marco said Sean Young is really a no-name. I don't even know who the fuck that is. Is that the guy in Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde? And of course, anyone here in fantasy, in the fantasy basketball leagues has been dope so far. Hell yeah. And Papa J, a Dunze, or we trust in Diddley Ridley? I mean, do you want to trust a Dunze? Like, that's also, man, it sucks, dude. I'd probably just go a Dunze. It sucks. It sucks, dude. Hey, Senor Rojo, what up? He said, "What's up, my brother?" He said, "It was good to see Cup back in my lineup last night." Yeah, I mean, we needed more out of him, but good to see him back. Drake said, "Trade Marvin Harrison Jr. for and a late first." Trade Marvin Harrison Jr. in a late first for Neighbors. Thoughts? I don't like that, man. I don't like that. We can go back a couple months and Marvin Harrison Jr. was like the hottest thing going. And yeah, I feel like you traded him too cheap for Dynasty. And I mean, Neighbors isn't cheap, but it's like you traded Marvin Harrison and a first for Neighbors. Like, I don't know. I mean, and you're saying late first, like 111 or 112, like you're legit going to be in the championship? Because that's the only way you get those two picks is if you're in the championship, whether you win or come in second place. Zeb said Jennings or Chuba. Jennings is doubtful, bro. Incognito, what up, Hustler? Would you trade Jamar for CD? No. I want to get them on the same team, not trade one for the other. Easier said than done, but trading one for the other, I mean, yeah, you're just trading a schedule for a schedule, but these guys are, it could play way better in their schedule anyways. And JD, what up, what up? CB Dizzle, what's the top 3 trading strats I just need to know? Man, you came here after we talked about like the best 2 for redraft and for dynasty. So you're gonna have to go back and watch to get everything. But yeah, the last trade strategy that we're gonna talk about here. Let me just let's get to the end here of the comments and then we'll get there. JD, Shakira, Wandale, and Bateman. Probably Wandale and Bateman. Biggs, how do you feel about Christian Kirk? Don't like him. He's been sucking. Corey say you think Bigsby and ETN go 50-50 moving forward? I bet it's kind of close to it. And oh yeah, wanted more from Cup. Yeah, for sure. And Toker One, yeah, thanks for the super chat, Toker One. Say man, redraft league. I couldn't pull Puka out of the IR, trying to put him there now on the bench spot, but they're locked and can't make him move until he's out. So how do I do things? You tag me in it and just, say you didn't put Puka into the if assuming it's a league with me where I'm the commissioner, you just tag me. Chestnut, by the way, got me 3 points, man. Anto, what up? Pittman for DJ Moore is good, right? Yeah, but I mean, I just don't like trading wide receivers for wide receivers. But yeah, I mean, as long as Richardson's there, we're not going to want him. Jeff said, "What up, Hustler?" He said, "Dubs, Wandale, or Bigsby." Leaning Dubs. Marco Anozone, Henley Burns, Logan Wilson, Levante start 2. Leaning Levante and Wilson. Jeff said Steelers or Chiefs D. Probably the Chiefs. Podson, no Sunday morning game this week. Finally. Zeb, Laporta, or Schultz for tight end. Schultz, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, you're screwed either way. I'd probably just say Laporta because of no JMO. Johnny said I commish about 5 Pukas under the bench for IR last night. Yeah. It's my personal league. I could send the invite and make you co-commish. Well, I mean, if you're there, put it out to your league and just let them know you made a mistake. If you would do the same thing for everyone else, they shouldn't have a problem with you doing it for yourself. Seb, Christian Kirk, Keenan Allen, D-Hop. Keenan. Tonto, you think it's a good time to trade Garrett? Probably not, because a lot of people are just trying to sell him for like nothing, like right now. So it all depends on, I mean, it's always a good and bad time to sell someone depending on what you can get for them. Corey says started off on the wrong foot and then won my league and then went against Darnold, Kyran, Cup. Oh, yeah, man. That's tough. Marco said Ryan Miller worth picking up. Literally don't even know who that is, man. Don't even know who that is. All right, guys, I got to get going. There's some shit going on in the background here. Yeah, I got to force myself to try to keep some of these shows to like an hour and a half. So I got a lot of shit to do in the background here. Oh, the wide receiver from Tampa. Yeah. He's super dart throw, right? Oh, yeah. Huss would know Sean Young because he played Einhorn and Ace Ventura. Nice. Pod son Ryan Miller is my attorney, right? Totally sounds like something like that. All right. So, all right, I got to get out of here. I'm not sure if we're going to have a show later tonight. Fridays have kind of been a little hit or miss. Been trying to do just a lot of work in the background. So I'll see you guys later. I appreciate you guys. Maybe we'll be back a little bit later today. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just be back tomorrow morning. But yeah, get over there to 420crew.com. Go join as a paid member, and then you can get into our group chats, and then we can then I answer any trade questions that you have. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Peace out.
Defense on me.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
Here comes the